Hello everyone, watch this review here with a look at the Micromachines Star Wars Action Fleet Series Alpha X-Wing. Now the Series Alpha is kind of a mix of the normal stuff and then with a sort of prototype or concept model. In some cases, the concept is wildly different from what we finally see. In the case of the X-Wing, it doesn't look that different. I mean, if you compare it to, say, the Snowspeeder, originally the Snowspeeder had, like, skis on the bottom, so... I think once you hit a design right, and you just really nail it the first time around, you don't see that much tweaking afterwards. Now, as you're probably aware, I'm a huge fan of the Micromachines Action Fleet line in general, although this series kind of didn't thrill me as much, just because, most of the prototypes are kind of, I don't know. First off, all the prototypes they included were just solid models. They didn't have any movement or anything. And then, that's the whole sort of draw to the series, where you can actually sort of do stuff with it. It's basically like the sort of normal 3 3/4 inch scale line, except for, on a smaller scale. So actually not like the 3 3/4 inch line or like the 3 3/4 inch line, but shrunk down even further. If that makes any sense to anybody out there. One person is probably nodding their head, and the rest of you are going, what the hell is this guy talking about? Bit of a read up here in the back. Basically just a whole information on the X-Wings in general. This pack does come with a big Starklighter and a unnamed R2 unit. I can't remember the actual R2 unit that he had. But hold on a second, I'll get this out of pack. Now, by the way, I already have the Rebel Snowspeeder pack. I wouldn't mind picking up the Imperial Shuttle one. Might not, though. Then, I already have the standard AT-AT, so I'd probably avoid that. Alright, so the set comes with everything seen here. The prototype X-Wing, the normal X-Wing, Biggs, the R2 unit, this generic thing for a Join the Star Wars fan club, $12.95 a year. Doesn't even explain the benefits of joining the fan club. Probably the most worthless insert that I've seen ever. The stand comes in 3 pieces. This one pops in this one, this pops in this one. You could display it without this side one. It's intended for the prototype. But, why not? The spots up here in the front are for Biggs and the R2 unit. And we also comes with the little Series Alpha prototype sketchbook. Which, I don't know, looks kind of neat. If you look at the Imperial Shuttle here, there are some definite changes between the prototype and the finished model, especially because it doesn't have this bubble thing. It looks like it's sort of geared for like being under the water more than it is in space. I don't know. Here's the Rebel Snowspeeder. There are the little skis I was mentioning. What a goofy design. Snowspeeder again. And finally the AT-AT. It does look a little bit different, but it's not like it's unrecognizably so. Of course, for whatever reason, they don't have the new version right next to it, which would be a nice comparison. Now the figure comes with some things to sort of protect it, this little thing to keep the cockpit from, breaking. And then these things to keep the foils together. I'm just going to go ahead and remove them. Off camera. Start by looking at the prototype here, which again is just a static piece. No movement of any sort. Yeah, just kind of minimal paint as well. I mean, really, it's nothing on its own. I guess it's neat for the comparison, and let's bring in the normal X-Wing just to see the two of them side by side. Bear in mind that this design was meant to also have the foils fold in, so let's pop out the foils in this. As you can see, just really similar looks between the two. I mean, they did sort of stick with this design. The only really notable change seems to be the cockpit, which has a more, I guess, 50s sci-fi flair to it, as opposed to this one, which looks, I guess, less futuristic. Even the noses of the two ships are pretty similar. So, I mean, again, I guess they sort of got this one right the first time, so they didn't go back and do a ton of changes. Now, as for the X-Wing here, the foils can fold up. If you're familiar with this vessel, you know when it's just flying around and stuff, the foils will be folded in. When it's landing, foils folded in. Hyperspace. Or was it hyperspace? No, if it was light speed, maybe. I'm totally blanking on it. Again, foils folded in. It's just for combat when they pop out like this and blasters sort of trigger. Now the things are linked on both sides, so opening one will open both. You can actually get these things to go the wrong direction too, because you can actually move the middle portion here a little bit. It has landing gear on the bottom. Just pop that out. Which again is, I guess, kind of cool. Not sure if that's how it naturally looked in the movies and stuff, because I can't recall offhand. I think the only time I actually saw one of these on the ground was in Dagobah, and I think it was kind of sinking to a swamp at that point. They should probably have had it in Yavin 4 too, right? I don't know. But the cockpit also pops open. You'll notice that they opted to use stickers on the inside, which is kind of common for the line, rather than paint the detail in. The other stuff's all painted. Biggs here has limited articulation like the other figures in the line, where basically the arms are linked together and will move, legs linked together and will move. It's good for getting them into the cockpit and then just sort of rudimentary stuff, but not much else. You know, it does look kind of like, I guess it would in the films. Not really a lot of paint or anything used here. Like with these stripes and everything, you'll notice that the design is a little bit faded and stuff, which I guess kind of would simulate, I guess, wear with time, although the general vessel doesn't have any sort of other paint wear or anything, and it doesn't have any ornamental nicks. I guess it came out in 1995. All in all, you know, pretty decent rendition of a X-Wing. Let me just quickly pop it up here so you can see the two of them look side by side in the stand. I imagine I'll probably just leave the prototype in this thing. I can't remember what I did with the stand for the only other one I have from the line. And when you do buy like the single releases for these, it would just have a stand like this. You wouldn't get the double. I do kind of like the effect of the double though. It is a little bit neat. And then of course you can either display the pilot and R2 unit in the craft or in the base. Now you should probably still be able to find these relatively cheaply. I mean, you'll probably pay less than 20 bucks for the set, if you can find it. Which, I mean, you know, given inflation and everything, isn't terrible. I think they were like 10 bucks when they first came out, so. The packaging on this actually says 15, so I'm not sure. Nah. So let's just say 10 to 15 when they originally came out. But yeah, this has been a look at the Alpha Series X-Wing from the Action Fleet line. So whatever happened to Galoob? Is this in business? They still make Micromachines, right? And I'm gonna have to look this up. This is gonna bother me. But yeah, it's a pretty decent figure. You know, probably not my favorite from the line, just because I tend to be biased towards snow speeders. But until next time, folks. Oh, actually, one major point of differentiation is if you look at the engines or turbines here, you'll notice that they're like half circles as opposed to full circles. So I guess when it would be, the foils would be combined, you get full circle. I guess it's kind of a neat differentiation. Not sure which I prefer more though. I think I'd probably like this one a little bit more.